In this video, I'll be sharing some of the most surprising and unforgettable stories from Reddit, all while surviving in Minecraft. Some will make you laugh, some will hit hard, and the last one, you won't forget. Let's jump right in. The first story is called, "My Boss Thought I Was Quittin' Because of Cake." And trust me, it's nothing like you expect. Yesterday evening, after a long day at work, I randomly got the urge to bake something. I hadn't baked in a while, and I still had some cocoa powder, butter, and cream sitting around at home. So I thought, why not make a chocolate cake with ganache? It wasn't anyone's birthday or anything. I just genuinely felt like baking and maybe brightening up the office atmosphere a bit. So this morning I packed up the cake carefully, brought it with me, and set it on the break room table. I even wrote a small note that said, "Cake in the kitchen, help yourself." I didn't think much of it. I just wanted to share something sweet with the team. But by lunchtime, things started getting strange. One coworker after another came up to me smiling, thanking me for the cake, but also saying things like, "We'll really miss you," and "So, where are you headed next?" I laughed awkwardly the first time, but then the same thing kept happening over and over. At one point, someone even asked if I'd already told our manager I was leaving. I had no clue what was going on until one of my coworkers finally explained it. Apparently, in our office, there's this unwritten rule. Whenever someone suddenly brings homemade baked goods for everyone, it usually means they're quitting or transferring to another department. It's like a farewell tradition that no one ever told me about. Now my manager wants to have a quick chat about my future at the company, and I have no idea how to explain that I'm not quitting. I just had too much chocolate at home and a random burst of baking energy. Honestly, at this point, I'm tempted to double down on the confusion. Maybe show up tomorrow with a tray of cookies and a massive sticky note that says, "I swear I'm not leaving. I just really like sugar and poor life decisions." The funny moment with the cake shows how small things can change the way others perceive you. But while life can have funny misunderstandings, sometimes events happen that profoundly change you, as the following story illustrates. Emma, losing the woman I loved while serving time. When I was 23, I met the woman I honestly believed was my forever. She wasn't just someone I dated. She was my best friend, my safe place, the kind of person you never expect to find twice in one lifetime. Our relationship just happened naturally. No games, no pretending. She didn't care about money, status, or image. She cared about me, the real me. But even when things were good, there was always this dark cloud hanging over us. I knew that eventually, I'd have to serve time. I'd made mistakes in my past, and my sentence was coming. When I told her, I also told her she didn't need to wait for me. I even encouraged her not to, but she refused to leave. She said she loved me and that we'd get through it together. She stood by my side through everything, through court, through my first year inside. She visited every week, sent letters, photos, anything to keep my spirits alive. Every envelope from her felt like a small piece of the outside world. Then, the day of my sentencing came. 7 years. She cried in the courtroom, and I remember trying to smile, pretending it wasn't as bad as it sounded. Neither of us fully understood the parole system then. She thought I'd be gone for 7 whole years. When I was transferred to a new prison, communication got harder. Calls were limited, Letters took longer. Then I got into 2 fights, one stupid, one unavoidable, and I was moved to segregation. That isolation messes with you. Days start blending together. You count time by meals and echoes in the hallway. On New Year's Eve, I finally got phone time. I called her. She answered, said she'd just gotten out of the shower, asked me to call back later, but I couldn't. I only had 20 minutes. We talked a bit, small stuff, trying to sound normal. Then I asked her the question that had been sitting in my chest for months. "You're still there for me, right?" She went silent. And in that silence, I already knew. My chest tightened, and I could hear my heartbeat louder than her voice when she finally said, I don't know. That was it. My time was up. The phone clicked, and I went back to my cell feeling completely hollow. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling like the world outside had moved on without me. Weeks later, I found out she had gone on a date with her boss. She admitted it, even told me they kissed. She didn't lie. That was the thing about her. She respected me enough to tell the truth, even when it broke me. After that, I hit my lowest point. I spent 45 days in isolation, letting the depression sink in. No distractions, no substances, just me and my thoughts. I wrote endlessly, pages and pages about her life, what she'd be doing, who she'd become. That was in 2011. Years passed. She moved on, started a family, built a life. Her boss became her husband. 2 kids, a house, vacations, the whole picture of success. I didn't blame her. Life keeps moving, even when you're stuck behind bars. Then, in 2023, 12 years later, I got a message from her, out of nowhere. She said she'd been thinking about me, that she regretted how things ended, that everything I wrote about her life all those years ago had somehow come true, but not in the way either of us hoped. Her husband had turned abusive. He was an addict. She was filing for divorce, raising her kids alone, trying to survive. She said I was the only man who ever treated her right, the only one who ever truly saw her. We talked for a few months, nothing romantic, just 2 people reconnecting after life had completely changed them. When she eventually said we couldn't talk anymore, it didn't break me this time. It actually gave me closure, because I realized sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about letting go with peace. She became part of the story that shaped me. And strangely enough, someone even turned that story into a short piece of fiction, inspired by my journals. It's being published now. Kind of poetic, right? I lost the woman of my dreams in prison, but I found myself in the process. After such trials, you begin to appreciate true support, not only in love, but also in friendship. And true friends come exactly when you need them. The following story is about just that. I lost everyone when I hit rock bottom, but that's when I found the real ones. About a year ago, I thought I had everything figured out. A good job, a solid routine, and most importantly, a friend group that felt like family. We were always together. Friday nights at the same bar, weekend road trips, movie marathons that turned into 3 a.m. conversations. We used to say things like, "We're gonna be friends forever," and I actually believed it. Then, life flipped the switch. Out of nowhere, I lost my job. One day I was joking with my coworkers, and the next, I was packing my stuff into a box, trying to act like I was fine. At first, My friends seemed supportive. They sent the usual messages. You'll bounce back. It's just a setback. We're here for you. I appreciated it. But slowly, things started to change. When you're not the fun one anymore, when you're no longer the one paying for drinks or making plans, people's energy shifts. The invites got fewer. The group chat got quieter. And every now and then, someone would make a small joke, like, "Don't be lazy, bro." Or, "When you get a job again, the next round's on you." It was all harmless, right? But it stung. Then came the real hit. One night I was scrolling through Instagram and saw a post from them all together at the same bar we used to go to every Friday. Same table, same inside jokes in the captions. The only thing missing was me. No text, no invite, no explanation. Just gone. That night I stared at my phone for hours. I didn't even cry. I just felt empty. Like I'd been erased from a life I helped build. After that, I started isolating. No calls, no messages, no motivation. Every day felt the same, like I was stuck in a loop while everyone else moved on. Then, one random evening, I got a text. It was from a girl I hadn't spoken to in years, someone I knew from way back. She said, "Hey, I saw you've been kind of quiet lately. You okay?" It was such a small thing, but it hit hard. That one message reminded me that not everyone forgets. We started talking again. Slowly, she introduced me to a few of her friends, chill, grounded people. Not loud or flashy, just real. They didn't care about money or status or what I could offer. They cared about how I was doing. If I couldn't afford coffee, they still wanted to meet up. If I wasn't in the mood to talk, they'd just sit there with me in silence. No expectations, no pressure, no pretending. And that's when it clicked. The people who stay with you when you have nothing. Those are the ones worth keeping when you have everything again. Now, I've got a new job. I'm stable, rebuilding, and grateful. But every time I look back at that period, when I hit rock bottom, I realize it was a blessing in disguise. Because losing all those fake friendships, that's what made room for the real ones. When you think you've lost everyone, sometimes help comes from the most unexpected people. Sometimes it's a colleague you barely know, and that help can change everything. That's exactly what happened in the following story. Title: How a coworker bound for prison ended up saving my life and my job. This happened back in 2009, but for some reason, it's been sitting in my mind lately. Like one of those moments you don't realize changed your life until years later. And I swear, every bit of this story is 100% true. I was 18 at the time, working at a massive distribution center for one of the biggest home improvement chains in the US. I worked in the appliances department, the kind of place where everything was heavy, loud, and constantly moving. My job was to drive this forklift-style machine that didn't have forks, but huge metal clamps. With it, I could grab up to 6 refrigerators at once if they were stacked correctly. Each stack was around 6 units tall, towering way above my head. Now, this one morning I came into work completely dead on my feet. I'd stayed up all night hanging out with this girl I just started seeing. I thought I was invincible back then. 18, full of energy, zero concern for sleep. But man, operating heavy machinery on 2 hours of rest, that's a whole different level of stupid. Anyway, the next order in my queue was a refrigerator all the way up on the top row. Even when I was fully awake, that always made me nervous. But I lined up my machine, adjusted the clamps, and carefully inched forward. until I felt the fridge lock in place. Perfect. Or so I thought. I started backing up to lower it down, but somehow, in my half-asleep haze, I grabbed the wrong lever. In slow motion, I watched this brand new refrigerator slip out of the clamps and crash straight to the ground. The sound was brutal. Even though it was wrapped in thick packaging, there was no saving it. My heart dropped. I was standing there frozen, realizing I might have just destroyed something worth more than my monthly paycheck. Then, out of nowhere, one of my coworkers, a guy I barely even talked to, came rushing over. He looked at me and asked, "Did anyone see that?" I told him I had no idea. I must have looked like a ghost, because he immediately said, "Don't worry about it. I got you." Before I could even react, he scanned the damaged refrigerator with his barcode scanner, the thing we used to log and move inventory. The system now showed he was the one responsible for that fridge. Then, without hesitation, he picked it up with his own machine and drove it toward one of the loading trucks. He stuffed it deep inside, behind a pile of random items, completely out of sight. I was stunned. I followed him, trying to understand what just happened. "Why'd you do that?" I asked. He didn't even hesitate. He told me he was heading to prison soon for his third DUI, and the company wasn't holding his job for him anyway. Then, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're only 18, man. You've got way more to lose than I do. Don't waste your life in this place. There's a better life out there than this warehouse bullshit. Go make something of yourself that hit me hard." This guy had no reason to help me. No benefit, nothing to gain. He just did it. I was still shaking from the whole thing. So I walked to my supervisor's office and told him I wasn't feeling safe to operate the machinery anymore. I clocked out and went home, and for the first time in a long time, I just sat there and thought. Over the next couple of weeks, I did some serious self-reflection. I realized how easily that day could have gone differently. I could have lost my job, or worse, hurt someone. I kept hearing that man's words in my head. So, I made a choice. I went to a recruiter and enlisted in the military. It was terrifying at first, but it gave my life structure and meaning. Things I didn't even know I was missing. Fast forward to now. I'm long out of the military and doing better than I ever imagined. I've built a good life with goals, stability, and peace. And I owe a big part of that to a coworker whose name I can't even remember. A man who was about to lose everything, but still took the time to save a stranger's future. I never heard another word about that refrigerator. All these stories show one thing. Real people don't always surround you where you expect. Sometimes they appear at the most unexpected moments, and it changes your life forever. I hope you enjoyed them. Don't forget that you can share your stories by emailing them in the description. Good luck.